Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a happy Father's Day to you all. Today we've got something very special, I think, which is sort of the latest in a series of puzzles we've been seeing, which all have the same rule set. So this puzzle on screen is called the Ultimate Prime Cages, and it's by Xenonetix. And this started with a 5x5 grid a month or two ago, where each of the cages in the grid had to add up to a different prime number. And then we saw a 6x6, I want to say by Codec. Then I think Xenonetix did a 7x7, and now this is the full caboodle, the full Monty. This is a 9x9 version of this puzzle. And so the idea is that, say, that cage there, the digits in it will sum up to a prime number, and whatever that prime number is, no other cage could sum to that prime number. So it's a gorgeous rule. It really is, but it's getting ludicrous that these things are solvable. And the comments on Logic Masters Germany about this one are just so terrific. People absolutely love this rule set, as indeed do I. So this is what we're going to be having a go at. I will read you the rules formally and properly in a moment or two's time. But as you can imagine, we have a few announcements to do today on Father's Day. Before I do those, though, I will just say we are closing in on 600,000 subscribers. So, well, that's a thing that might happen soon. And also, of course, our competition is still running for June. This incredible series of puzzles, the Lord of the Rings Sudoku Hunt by Blobz. If you haven't had a go at that, please have a go. I saw some statistics, some new statistics. I think we're going to be up at something like 2,000 attempts. No, that's not even true. 2,000 successful attempts at the first puzzle. I think that's where it's going to end up. So that there may be, even more people than that who've actually attempted the hunt. But honestly, if you give it a good go, you'll get it done by the 20th, which is the date the competition finishes. And I can guarantee you'll get an awful lot of pleasure if you haven't had a look at it yet. So that's one thing. Now let me go to the announcements, because these are legion. In fact, I'm going to start off with a very special birthday. It's not to do with Father's Day. This is a very special birthday to Emily. Emily, your husband Byron wrote in, but frankly, Mark and I would have wished you a very happy birthday anyway. You're one of the most excellent, kind, generous, erudite members of our community, and we are so grateful that you watch so many of our videos. Your comments are always exactly in the spirit that this channel lives in. So Emily, we wish you all the very best for your birthday today. I hope you have an enormous piece of very good chocolate cake. Right, next down, this is a Father's Day one. Next, Daniel. This is from Laura. On your first Father's Day, she describes you as being the best dad to your son Emmett. So Daniel, what a nice message. I hope you have a great day today. I don't know if can you have cake on Father's Day? I'm sure you can. So Daniel, I hope you get some nice cake. Next, Felix. Now, Felix, it was your birthday over there in Germany on Thursday, but your partner Charlie said that I should read this announcement out today, because I think that today is the day that your family and friends are visiting, and today is the day that you're getting the cake. So Felix, many happy returns for Thursday. I hope you have a good party today. Many happy returns. Next, another Father's Day one. Kevin, your wife Autumn wrote in to say that this is your first Father's Day. Your daughter Lucy was born this year. And Kevin, I hope you enjoy your first Father's Day, and you get some cake, obviously. Oh, next, Stephen, from your son Stuart. And Stephen, this is another Father's Day one, but Stephen is a grandfather as well for the first time this year of Orla. You may have heard us talk about Orla before, because Stuart is known under a different guise in the world of Sudoku, the peddling pianist, no less. Now, I do know that we were hoping to have a look at a puzzle that Stephen, you set. It was was it Balencio? Is that how you say it? Yeah. Now Mark's had a look at that, because it needs some theory, doesn't it? The theory about yin yang things. And I will try and have a go at that. Once I get any moments spare, I will try and have a look at it, but we'll probably put it on Patreon, because the knowledge required to solve it is slightly recherche. So we'll leave that with me. That is a project I intend to get to. And then next, this isn't Father's Day, and this isn't birthdays. This is graduation day for Valeria and Cameron, who are graduating from Stanford University today. And I know this because your great friend Jordan wrote to us, and he's very sorry he can't be there today to celebrate with you, but he wanted to wish you both the very best. He's there in spirit and is rooting for you as you do the wacky walk, and I hope you enjoy your last few days on the farm. Now, I didn't understand those last references, so I had to look them up, and I understand that when seniors graduate from Stanford, they sort of dress up in strange costumes and do what's called the wacky walk. So I watched a video of that, and it was quite funny. And apparently Stanford is known as the farm because originally it was a farm. Another thing I've learnt. Anyway, Valeria and Cameron, I hope you enjoy your day. Now, let's have a look at the Ultimate Prime Cages by Xenonetix. I will read you the rules to this extraordinary Sudoku. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. The digits in each cage sum to a prime number, but no two cages sum to the same prime. Digits in a cage may repeat. That's an important rule. And for convenience, the prime numbers from 1 to 100 are, and then there's a whole list of prime numbers. Okay. Well, that's very kind. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, well, let me just think about this from a mathematical perspective. No, that's... Well, okay, sorry. The reason I was just pausing there is that there's been a trick I've been able to use, which I've learnt through doing the first 3 of these puzzles. And I'm actually not sure. Yeah, sorry, I'm being a bit cryptic here, but the trick that I could use in the earlier puzzles was a trick that required, because the grid had to add up to an even number, and because prime numbers are in general odd, the total number of cages had meant I'd be able to discover in those earlier puzzles, sorry, it's a bit of a spoiler, that there had to be a 2 cage. Now, but the thing is here, I do know there's a secret to Sudoku, and the secret, which I share with only my very favourite people, is that any complete row of a Sudoku sums to 45. And that's because it contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. Now that means that this whole grid sums to 405, 9 lots of 45. And the problem with 405 is it's odd, isn't it? So what we should do is check how many cages we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Gosh, some of these cages are weird, actually. 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh no! Ooh, actually, careful, Simon. That one there, that's in the same cage as that one. Oh, so now I've lost my count. Oh, there's another one there. Hang on, I'm going to have to add these up again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I'm actually going to do that again, because if I get this count wrong, then all sorts of things could flow from that, which will not help me. So I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now this is the strange one down here. So I got 15 again there. Yeah, okay. So I sort of believe 15. So I've got 15 different prime numbers adding up to 405. That's the basic mathematics here. And yeah, okay. Now, the other thing I'm noticing as I sort of take a cursory look at this grid is I actually don't think I could have a 2 cage in this grid, because it looks to me like the minimum cage we've got is a domino, and obviously I can't fill a domino with double 1, because although we can repeat digits in cages in this puzzle, the basic rules of Sudoku will be broken if I go double 1 like that. So all of the cages in this puzzle add up to an odd number, and that makes sense. There's an odd number of odd numbers summing to an odd number. So how do we start this then? So okay, so that digit's odd. There we go. We can start like that. So that's 1, 3, 5, 7 or 9. And we know that because the secret that we talked about before, obviously it applies to a box of a Sudoku as well. Those digits add up to 45. 45 is odd, but each of these individual cages we know is adding up to an odd number, and there are 4 of them. So 4 cages must add up to an even number. 4 odd numbers being summed will add up to an even number, but the whole box adds up to an odd number, so that is odd. That is what we have discovered. Now, look at this cage, by the way. That is an enormous cage. I wonder if what we're meant to do here is sort of work out what the minimum sum of this is, because we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. So that's already 2 triangular numbers of 5, which is 15 plus 15, which is 30, 45, plus another 10, 55, 56. So 56 I'm going to... there might be some sort of wrinkle we could do there, but that's approximately the lowest value that this could sum to. Now 56 is... So the minimum prime for this is 59. That's actually surprisingly small. This is the biggest cage, is it? There's another quite big one there, another quite big one there. Okay, I don't know. So, how do we do this? How do we do this? Do I really have to add up? Do I have to add up the minimum, the 15 smallest primes that aren't 2? Am I going to get close to 405 if I do that? I don't want to do that. I could easily get that very wrong. Hang on, let me look at this list of primes here. So how many are we... let's find out what the 15th prime is at least. So 13, if I don't include 2, 13 is the 5th prime. So 31 is the 10th prime. So 15th prime I think is 53. Okay, well I am going to try and do this, because I can see if I add the 53 to the 47 I get 100. So that makes it quite easy to start the mathematics anyway. So 184... 184, I want to say 221, 252, 252, 275, 304, 304, 323, 340, we're getting up there, 353, 364, 371, 371 plus another 8, 379, 379. So that is 26 less. That's 26 less than 405. So doesn't that mean Okay, what that means is I do have to have lots of the low primes have to be in the puzzle, I think. Because if I sum, let's ignore 2. 2 if for the purposes of this puzzle is not prime. If I add the 15 lowest prime numbers together, I get 379. Now, let's say, for example, we said, okay, there is no 3 cage in the puzzle. Well, then I'm taking out 3 from my 379, but I'm replacing it with 59 as the minimum next prime up that we haven't included. And the difference between 3 and 59 is 56, and that's a lot more than 26, which was the difference I've got to play with. Because what I could have here is all of the primes up to 47, and then just change the 53 prime, increase that by 26, I would get, that's probably it. That actually gets me 70, because 79 would work there. That would take up the slack. So, okay. Okay, so actually I'm now thinking we've got to have a lot of these primes in there. So if I didn't have, even if I go as high as, say, if I took out 31 and replaced that with 59, that's still no good. That's still a 28 that's still a 28 increase in the minimum total. So all of the primes up to and including 31 are in this puzzle. So we have to find cages that are 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29 and 31. And then after that, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Because what we could be doing after that is we could take out, say, a 37 cage. Maybe not a 37. Well, the problem is that we could have small increments in, you know, we could have the 53 going to the 59 and the 37 coming out and being replaced by a 61. I'm not sure if the numbers work there, but the important thing that we're going to have to keep track of is that we can't assume that it's just one prime being left out and one bigger prime being brought in, because we could increase the value of several of the primes slightly. Because of course the difference between, if I didn't have a 53 prime in the puzzle, but I had a 59 prime, that takes up 6 of my 26 of slack. If I don't have a 47 but had a 61, that would take up 14 of my slack. The point is, though, that you can't take out the lower primes, because to take out those would cause too much of a ripple effect on the overall total. So this is already quite interesting, and I'm not. So presumably, how are we going to do this then? Oh, I see. Right, okay. Here is something very obvious. I've got to have a 3 prime, a 3 cage in this puzzle. Well, that must be in a domino, because it must be a 1-2 pair. But if I do put a 1-2 pair in here, well, I think one of these, that's not a 1 then. So there must be a 1-2 pair in here, because these are the only dominoes in the puzzle, unless I've missed one. And therefore, could we have a 5 cage in here as well? The answer is no, because if that's a 1-2 cage, and we decide to make this a 5 cage, how are we going to do that? Because it would either be 1-4, well, it can't be, because the 1's there, or 2-3, and it can't be, because the 2's there. So that's very interesting, because that means that although one of these cages is 1-2, the 5 cage... Yeah, okay. So the 5 cage can't be in box 5. Now, my first reaction there was, well, that's a problem. Where do we put the 5 cage? But that was because I was forgetting that we could repeat digits, but we can repeat digits. Now, 3-cell cages. This is great of Sven, that you can just double click on a cage and it highlights all of the same coloured, same size cages. Well, that one is going to be a 5 cage, isn't it? Because this one, I can't repeat a digit in that one, so the minimum this could be would be 1, 2, 3, which is 6. 6 is bigger than 5, knowledge bomb. So this cage is a 5 cage. And therefore this, well, okay, so it's, well, oh, no, okay, so we don't know. It's either going to be 2 1s here, because we need to repeat a digit to keep a 3-cell cage down to 5. So we could repeat 1 and have a 3, or we could repeat 2 and have a 1. Bobbins. We can't repeat 3 and have a -1. That won't work. Ah, but no. Yes. Okay. So now, which one of these cages is a 1, 2 cage? It's not this one, and it's not this one, because that would break these cells. So there's a 1 and a 2 in these squares. And I almost wish I could tick them off, but I can't. But we've now found, no, we haven't really found, but we know approximately where the 3 cage is. We know where the 5 cage is. So now, the next lowest cage is 7, but 7 could be a 1, 2, 4 cage, couldn't it? In a 3-cell cage. Oh, bother, I don't know how to do that then. So, this is tricky, actually. This is very tricky. All right, let's try it differently. Let's look at all the low cages and see if we can, because these cages, the 3-cell cages that we haven't examined yet, they can't have a repeat digit in. So the maximum size of cage they could be, as Maverick flies over, is a 23 cage, because they couldn't add up to 29, which is the next lowest prime after that. So how many primes are we looking for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. There are 8 primes. That's right. That's good. That's great. Hang on. Have I made a mistake here? Am I wrong about everything? Is it? I don't think I am. I don't think the logic I've done is wrong. It feels right. I've got to have an awful lot of low digits as prime cages in the puzzle. And now I am comfortable with that. Right, okay, so what I've noticed now is I've got 8 cages that are 3 cells or 2 cells. And I've got 8 primes, all of which I know have to be in the puzzle, which are less than or equal to 23. So 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19 and 23 are 8 different primes. So these cells here are those exact cages. Now 19 and 23 could not appear in a domino, because 8 and 9 would be the maximum we could include in a domino. So 2 of these 3 cages, the 3-cell cages that are not this cage, which is the 5 cage, let's put 5 in the corner like that, have to be 23 and 19. Right. 23 and 19. So the other... So I don't know how to do this really. So the... Alright, so maybe let's try it a different way again. Sorry, I'm trying to get my head around this. So the four cages in box 5 are selected from 3. We know 3 is one of them. The primes that are summing to these cages. 3 is one of them. And then it's 3 of the primes 7, 11, 13 and 17. So that it is a bit restricted. So, okay, so here is a very interesting thought, and no jokes about me at parties. I am a tremendously interesting person to speak to at a party, whatever anyone who's actually met me at a party would say. If one of these cages is not 7, then we know that the panoply of cages that exist in box 5 would be 3, 11, 13 and 17. But if that's true, unless my maths is wrong, those 3, 11, 13 and 17 add up to 44. And if those cells add up to 44, what would that make this? It would make it a 1, but it can't be a 1 because I know one of these cages is a 1-2 pair. So that doesn't work. And that tells me rather beautifully that 7 is one of the cages in box 5. And 7, how do you make a domino add to 7 if it doesn't have 1 or 2 in it? It must be a 1, 2, it must be a 3 and a 4. So one of these cages is a 3 and a 4. So all the other cages, that's fine, isn't it? All the other cages are made up of 5, 6, 7s, 8s and 9s. We can't have 2 even digits together, can we? Because they would add up to an even number. So we've used 2 and 4 in 2 of the cages. 6 and 8 are going to be in different cages, and they're going to combine with an odd number to make primes. So 6. So that's fine. A 6 only can't go with 9. Well, what does 9 go with then? So 9 could be here. Oh, bobbins. How do I do this? What about, okay, let's try and miss out another prime. If we miss out 11, where do we get to then? Then we get to 42, and this would be a 3. Is that wrong or right? Feels. If I miss out 11, so no, that's wrong. Hang on, I've just got, this maths is totally beyond me. 3. If I miss out 11, I know there's a 7, so I could miss out 11. 17, 13, 7 and 3 is 40. So I get a 5 here. I see, and then I'd have an 8-9 cage, I'd have a 6-7 cage. I'd have a 3-4 cage and a 1-2 cage. That makes sense. Okay. But how do I end up with a 3 here then? That would mean the cages have to add up to 42. That doesn't seem to be possible to do that. Yeah, I don't see how... Oh, hang on. If I had 28... No, I don't think I can do it. Right, I don't think this can be 3. Just mathematically, I can't make these cages add up to 42. No, okay, sorry, of course this can't be 3. And the reason, because I've just discovered there's a 3 and a 4 cage, I was thinking this maths doesn't work at all, and of course it doesn't work, because one of these cells is a 3 and a 4, one of these cages is a 3 and a 4, adding up to 7. Okay, so 5, 7 or 9, and we worked out, didn't we, that if we missed out the 11 it worked. If we missed out the 13, is that going to give us a problem? 28, 38, we'd get a 7 here. We'd still have an 8-9 cage in that case. Oh, I don't know. And I don't think there's a problem with that. If I miss out the 17, then I've got 24, 34, 11. Oh, 11. Hang on, that doesn't work. Hang on, what's going wrong there then? If I miss out a 17 cage from here, 13, 11, 7, 3 would be the most I could make the cages add up to. 24, 34. That doesn't work. This would be an 11. Right. Okay, so this is not 9 because there is an 8, 9 cage in here somewhere. So there's a 3, 4 cage, an 8, 9 cage, and then the other cage is either going to be an 11 cage or a 13 cage, and it's either going to be a 5 and a 6, or it's going to be a 6 and a 7. So there's, okay, which makes sense because there's always a 6 in that cage. Right. Goodness me, this is very confusing. Okay. So what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't know. There's a fly there. Go away, fly. Or maybe that's not how we're meant to do it. Maybe what we're meant to do. Oh no, I've got this much more straightforward. Let's forget this altogether. Let's forget this altogether because the next lowest prime, we've accounted for all the low primes, all of the primes up to 23. So what prime is that? Well, that prime has to be at least a 29 because that's the next lowest prime we've got going for us, and it can't add up to 31 because 9, 8, 7 and 6 add up to 30. So that is, we can write that digit. Well, we can. That is a 29 cage, definitely. It's 5, 7, 8, 9. It's the only way to make 29. So that means the next lowest prime that's possible in the puzzle, so this one maybe 31. This has to have a repeated digit in it. So I wonder if this has to be 31. Can it actually be 37? If we make that 7, what could we have? Double 9, 8 there. Double 9 and 8 is 26, plus 7 is 33. That is not the same as 37, right? Okay, this cage is the 31 cage. Oh, bobbins, I'm going to have to do this in a hybrid way, aren't I? This is a 31 cage. This is a this is a 29 cage. This is a 31 cage. I don't know really what goes on in here. And okay, so 31 requires a repeated digit, but that it doesn't necessarily have to be that's repeated. So if this is 5, oh well, if this is 5, we just looked at this. How do you make, what's the most you can make those add up to? Well, it's double 9, 8. So if that's 5, this is double 9, 8. And if this is 7, these add up to 24, which could be 7, 8, 9. Or it could be other things, couldn't it? Because it could be 24, double 9, 6 would work. What about, oh no, it's not double 8. Because if it was double 8, it would be double 8, 8. And that would put 3 8s into those squares. Right, so this is either, actually I'm going to have to get rid of that, but to pencil mark this. If this is 5, this is double 9, and this is 8. If this is 7, well then one option is 7 here, and these would be an 8, 9 pair. But the other option is double 9, 6. Oh, botheration. So these are the actual pencil marks for this box. I'm still not sniffing a digit here, am I? Okay, so the 8, 9 pair, assuming this is right, the 8, 9 pair that I know exists for the 17 cage in box 5 is not now this one, because that would break this square. So these include 8 and 9. Okay, and what's my next lowest prime? My next lowest prime is 37. And what's my next smallest cage? It is probably that one. So that's a 5-cell cage. that has to add up to at least 37, but I'm not sure about that. If this is double 9 in those squares, which was certainly an option for one of these things, or perhaps two of the things we were looking at, you can't put a 9 in that at all, because a 9 here sees all of those 4 squares, and a 9 there sees the top one. So this would be a maximum of 876. 876, 21. And double 8. Oh, that can't be 876. That would break that one. So if this was... Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So I'm now going to claim that this cage couldn't exist. If this is double 9, I'm not sure this cage can exist in the puzzle. Because, let's think about this very carefully, if this cage has to add up to at least 37 now, the maximum size of that is 8. The maximum size of that is 8. And that requires these to add up to 21. How do we do that without using 9? The only way is 6, 7, 8, and that will break that square. So I think what we can do is think about this cage again, because when this was 5, that had to be double 9. There's our first digit, right? That's 7, because if this is 5, that's double 9, and this cage can't exist. So this is 7. These add up to 24, and they either, well, double 9 6 was one way, but that doesn't work for the orange cage. 24 double 8 8 doesn't work for obvious reasons. So this is 7 8 9, and that is 7, and these are different, and we've got 2 digits in the puzzle now. And this still has to be quite meaty, doesn't it, to get to 37, because the maximum size of these squares is going to be an 8 or a 9, whatever this isn't, and 5 and 6. Yeah, this is very interesting, this square now as well, because the maximum size of this is now also 8 or 9, but don't forget, these can't be double 9, because if these are double 9, you couldn't put a 9 in here at all. So the best we can do for those 2 digits is to make them an 8 9 pair. It's the same for double 8 actually. They are, so they'd have to be an 8 9 pair. They'd be 17 and 11, which is 28. Ah, that's it, right? Okay, this orange cage is 37, and there is only one way to make it work. This is so... Oh, I've broken it. Botheration. What have I done wrong there? Oh, no, I haven't. Right, I haven't broken it, because this was just... These weren't real pencil marks. This was just showing what the minimum sum of this was. Oh, thank goodness for that. Because what I was going to say is the only way I can get this orange cage to add up to 37 is by making this a 9. And then I was looking at this and thinking it was broken. But there's no reason that this 8 9, which must exist in this set of 3, has to be here. It could be there. And if it's there, these 2 squares can be a 5 6 pair now. This isn't broken. And in fact, that's now an 8 by Sudoku. So that's a 9 by Sudoku. It's a 9 by maths, actually. Let's be very clear. These could have been the same digit under the rules of the puzzle, but I need this to add up to 31. So now this square here is a 9. That is by Sudoku, and this is an 8. And this should work. We've got 26 plus 11, 37. Oh, right. Yeah, okay. So which one of these cages in this box now is the 8-9 pair? Neither of these can be 8 or 9, so neither of these can be 8 or 9. So that is an 8-9 pair. And if we... Oh, hang on. If we know this is 7, I can now deduce, can't I, which prime is missing. Yes, okay, there's now a 5-6 pair in here somewhere. So there's a 5-6 and a 3-4. I love this, by the way. This is just so... It's fascinating. That is the best adjective for this. It is fascinating. How long have I had? 40 minutes. That has flown past. These squares are all low digits. This is a 29. So I've now used up all of the low primes up to and including 37. So the next lowest prime is 41, which is probably going to be the minimum of that one. Oh, actually, look, I can do Sudoku here. 9, 8. I don't know. Can I do better than that somehow? There has to be an 8 up here. I'm not sure. 9 has to be in one of those squares. But okay, now we know. Okay, so now we know there is an 11 cage in here, don't we? So my primes that have now been used, because I was thinking I can work out what the 3-cell cages are now, because the cages that are in box 5 are 17, 11. Yeah, 17, 11, 7, and 3. So I haven't used 13 there. So one of these yellow cages is 13. One of them is 19. One of them is 23. So this one is not 23, because 23 would be 6, 8, 9. So this one is either 13 or 19. If it was 19, it couldn't have 9 in it. It would have to have 8 in it, because 7, 6, and 5 only add up to 18. So it would either be 8, 4, 7 or 8, 5, 6. This could be 23. That very much looks like it quite wants to be 23, doesn't it? 6, 8, 9. These would be an 8-9 pair. No, that doesn't work. Is that fair? I think so. If this was 6, 8, 9, then unless I'm mistaken, 8 and 9 in row 3 have to be in these two squares, and that cannot be an 8 or a 9. So that is not 6, 8, 9. This must be 6, 8, 9, which means that is not 9. This is not 9. These squares are all low digits. And these two cages are in some order 13 and 19. If that was a 1, then... no, that's not even interesting. That could still be... no, it could be 3. It could be 3, 4, 6. It wouldn't even have to have a 2 in it. No, that's not clever. Don't say unintelligent things, Simon. Okay, 8 is over here. I don't know what to do. I'm going to look at this cage. Now, this cage, we know, adds up to at least 41. But there are at least some restrictions. These 3 digits cannot be higher than 3, 4, 6. Let's put the minimums in. 3, 4, 6. That could be a 7, I think. That could be an 8, and these squares could be... well, they could be 6 and 7, maybe. I don't think 6 and 7 breaks that one, so I think this is the minimum. So we've got 21 there, 28, 38, 41. No, sorry, not the minimum. 41 is the maximum. That's beautiful. That is really... This cage is so clever. Okay, because it's entirely forced. We have used up every single prime number all the way, up to and including 37. And if I populate this cage with the very biggest digits I possibly can, I think I can make it add up to 41. I'm just going to check again. 21, 28, 38, 41. Okay, so it is this. That is 7. This is 8. This is a 6-7 pair, so that's 6. That's 5. Oh, surely that's going to be very helpful. Yes, okay, so now there is a 6 in this cage, look, which we know must be in the 11 cage. So these squares, 1, 2, 3, and 4. One of these is 3, 4. One of these is 1, 2. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 in column 5. Oh, look at this. Right, here we go. Look at this box. Where are the 1 and the 2 in it? And the answer is those squares. Now, look at those. I've got a 1, 2 pair in row 3. So what's this? That's 3, which means that's double 1, because we know that this was the 5 cage. That's 2, that's 1. We're getting loads of digits all of a sudden. That's not 1. Where do we put 3 in this box? There. So this is 4, 6. So that's 6, that's 7. Can we do more than that? What do we need now? We've got 5 and 9 here by Sudoku. 1 in one of those 2 squares by Sudoku. What were the yellow cages? The yellow cages were either 13 or 19, weren't they? So if 13 or 19... Ah, here's an interesting idea. I don't know if this matters, but I'll mention it. These squares are even numbers. Because 1, 3, 7 and 9 and 5 do not live in these squares, so they're even. That's not 6. And this has to, this top yellow cage has to add up to an odd number, doesn't it? And whatever, so it's only having one of the odd numbers that are left to put in box 1. Because if it had 2 odd numbers and 1 even number, it couldn't add up to an odd number. So there is 1 odd number in there, which is either 1 or 7. And the digit that is not 1, that it doesn't go in there, must go in here then. So this is 1 or 7. So if this is a 19 cage, it would be 8. It would be 8. And then either 4, 7, or it wouldn't be 5, 6, it would be 8, 4, 7. This would be 1. 8, 4, 7. And 8, 4, 7. This would be 2. This would be 6, I think. Yeah. So, but 6, look. 6 is in one of those squares. Now what was that? That was on the basis that this was a 19 cage, because this could be a 13 cage. If it's a 13 cage, then presumably it might be able to have 1 in it. And if it has 1 in it, it needs 12 more, which couldn't be 5, 7 or 3, 9. So it would be 4, 8, and this would be a 2 again. But it doesn't, I don't think it has to be that. Because if it didn't have 1 in it, it would have 7 in it, and then it would need 6 more, which would have to be 2, 4, and then this would be 8. Ah, sorry, I can't quite see whether that's restricted or not. Bother. I don't know where to look then. So look, we've done this cage, haven't we? I'm just going to give that a colour to show that we've thought about it. We've done this cage. We have... oh, there's no 8 up there, because we worked out this is an 8. 7. No, 7 doesn't have to be in this cage at the top. We might have to start thinking about other things as well, which is terrifying. What about... yeah, these digits are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, aren't they? In box 7, but those can't be 1 or 3, they're 2, 4 or 5. Oh, botheration, I don't know. I think we might have to start thinking about these other cages, but they look so unappetizing. Oh, sorry, I have my window open and the wind has just blown everything, blown my door shut. So we've got that cage, and then we've got the great humongous cage down here. Oh, I don't like light green, sorry, I'm not going to use that. What could I use? Grey? Yeah, let's use grey. But I'm not at all sure I can't do more Sudoku. So, what about this column, for example? 2, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6. So this square is 2, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 5, 6. That's not 2. Oh, bother, I don't know. How do I do this? We could... okay, let's try and look at the purple, green and grey cages and try and work out, because at the moment, hang on, at the moment I've used up all of the primes all the way up to 41, haven't I? So my 26 of flexibility, if you like, I've not even begun to think about that yet. So at some point I've got to stop having sequential primes, because if I just have sequential primes, I'm not going to get to 405. So the next lowest prime is 43. So, okay, but I know the value of these squares, don't I? Because I can use the secret to deduce those. These squares add up to 22, so these add up to 23 to make 45 overall. Sorry, Maverick's getting lower and lower. So what was that? 23, 24. But then it gets horrible, because what on earth does that add up to? I mean, that depends on a lot of things. It depends on the value of this and the value of that. And then what's that? I haven't got a clue. Ugh. Oh, now the window, now the door is blowing open. How do I do this? This cage suffers the same indignities, doesn't it? I don't know what that is, so I don't know what these three are. I don't know what this is, so I don't know what these are. And I don't know what that is, because it has a choice of two things. And the great big cage, I can work out that, fair enough. Yeah, it's odd actually. This cage, the great big cage, is in a sense more constrained than the others. And the only reason I say that is at least I do know the value of this and I do know the value of this. I don't know them immediately, but I could work them out. Now the value of this is one of two things, depending on the value of that. But then the value of this is, who knows? Do I know anything about this? Not really, I don't think. I'm going to check what prime we get near when we do this one. So those add up to 30, because that's 45 minus 7 minus 8. So these are 30, that's 32. What's this? Because we can work that out. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, which is 17. So now I'm at 49, if I include those. And I'm at 49, and then it depends what this is. Now this is either a 13 cage or a 19 cage. So if it's a 13 cage, 22, this would be 23. So if it's a 19 cage, that must be a 17. That makes sense. Okay, so, and we're adding that to 49, aren't we? So we're either on 66 or 72, and we've got to get to a prime. 66 or 72. So we've got to add these two digits on to 66 or 72 to get to a prime number. Well, if it was 72, if grey, apart from this domino, added up to 72, looking at my list of primes, I think this would have to be making it up to 79, because 83 is too big. We can't make these add up to 11. But we could make them add up to 7 if they were 2 and 5. But if we had 66, then it's more... 66 couldn't go to 71, because I can't make these add up to 5. 73 is 7 again. 79 is too big. Oh, okay. Alright, that's really hard. But this is always adding up to 7. So it's always 2, 5, which means these are not 2. So this is 1, 3, or 4. These are not 2. And the odd thing about that is it doesn't tell me very much about anything, because it worked both ways. Whether grey was adding up to 66 or 72, absent this, these were always 7. But so I know that this is 2, 5, but I don't actually know what grey adds up to still. That's very annoying. That's very annoying. So what do I get anything from this? I get that's 4 or 8. Does that stop? Does that stop that being 19? If this is 19, how did that work? Oh, yeah, there you go. Right. If this was 19, how would we make it work, given it hasn't got 9 in it? It would need to have 8 in it. And then it needs 2 more digits that add up to 11, which couldn't be 5, 6, couldn't be 2, 9, couldn't be 3, 8, so they would be 4, 7, and that would kill that square. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. If that's what I meant to do, it's ridiculous, but I love it, because that means that this is a 13 cage, which means this is a 19 cage, which means there is definitely an 8 in this one. And it's either 8, 5, 6, which would make this a 2, 4 pair, which doesn't work. Oh no, have I missed some Sudoku here? Because that's very interesting. Because knowing there's a 2 here, there can't be a 2 here, can there? Because then where would the 2 go in row 7? It would have to go in these 3 squares, and it doesn't go there. So we actually know that there's a 2 in in exactly this place in column column 7 being the correct technical term for column thingy. Well, okay, but now this is even better, because this adds up to 19. It's not 8, 5, 6, because both of these were before. So this is now 8, 4, 7, and now this is a 5, 6 pair, and that is a 4, and that's a 6. These don't include 4 anymore. Hang on, don't include 4, Simon. So this is 1, 2, or 3. It's not 2, because that would put 2 in one of these. So this is 1 or... Oh, so hang on, that's a 1, 3 pair. That's a 2. So this is now not... Oh, goodness, I keep misclicking. But you can see in this triple, 1, 3, and 4, the 4 is on the left-hand side, so this couldn't be a 4. Okay, has this done things for me? Please have done things for me. It's done... I don't know. It's 2, 5. So this square is 4. It's 4, 6, or 8, isn't it? And all of those things seem to be on the table. Ah, but now, if I know this is 4, 7, 8, I can work out the value of grey. So that could be what we're meant to do next. Because if I know the value of grey... Now grey, if this was bigger, that means grey was the smaller, doesn't it? Because if this could have been 13 and grey would have been bigger. So we must have been going from 66 plus 7 is 73. So 73... So 73 for grey has used up 20 of my 26 of buffer. So do you remember at the very start, we said, let's add up the minimum 15 primes. And when we did that, the biggest prime we added up in that sequence was 53. And we got 379. So we know that we had to increase the primes we were using by 26. Well, because I've just discovered that I've used a 73 as one of my cages, I've taken, if that substitutes in for the 53, I've used up 20 of slack. So I've got to use up 6 more of slack from those minimums that I was using before. Which probably means something, but I can't immediately see how to do that. So I could, because I could... Because if I went from 47 to 53, if I had a 43 cage and then I went from 47 to 53, I would use up the perfect slack. So I could have a 43, a 53, and a 73. And I think that would use up the 26 of slack. But I'm not sure if that's forced. I'm not sure. It might be forced. I'm just not sure. I'm feeling a bit confused by all the maths that's going on. Let's make this cage red, because that will make me feel like I'm doing something. And let's... Well, I know the value of that cage now. That is a 13 cage, don't I? So do I know its composition? And the answer to that's probably... Well, yes and no. I do know now that this isn't a 1. Because these would add up to 12 and no options available, because the 4 8's ruled out by this thing. 4 8 5 7 3 9 doesn't work, so we can do slightly better than we were doing. So that's good, actually. That does some things down here. So that's now 3. That's 1. Oh, come on. That must do something beyond what we've just looked at. How can that not do anything? Oh, Bobbins McBobbins face. Can we... Sorry, there's even more traffic noise from outside. And a fly buzzing around. Oh no! When the flies start to buzz round, I get very distracted. Okay, so... Well, okay. One thing we work... Oh, okay, here's something. I know where 6 goes in this box now. Because I know this is a 13 cage. I knew it had to have 1 odd digit in it. I now know that odd digit is a 7. I don't know where that goes. But I can't put 7 and 6 in there, because then I'd have to put a 0 in there as well. So the 6 doesn't go there. That's a 6. Which means that is not a 6. And don't tell me that does nothing. That's going to do absolutely diddly, isn't it? Okay, so I need... Oh... That's an enormous fly. So I need 6 more without using 1, 5. So this is 2, 4, 7. Let's look at that. That's now become an 8. So that's a 4. So right. So this is 1, 3 now. So this is 2, 4. And maybe Sudoku is going to be our friend. These are not 8. 4 doesn't live in this square. Can we do any more than that, please? Please, kind puzzle. I don't know. I have a horrible feeling I'm going to have to try and work out what these other cages add up to. And that's going to be, well, I feel like that's going to be very tricky. I know that's where it's going though, isn't it? That is what we're going to have to do. Oh dear, dear, dear. I'm desperately trying to see another way of doing this, using that fair-weathered friend Sudoku to get me out of trouble, but I can't see how to do it. Okay. So, alright, so I am going to actually have to put my thinking cap on again here and try and work out what's going on. So I've used up 20 of my slack by saying that I could take out the 53 cage I was originally mooting might be in the puzzle and replacing it with a 73 cage. That might not be what's happened, but that's how I'm trying to conceptualize what's going on. So I've got to, from the minimums, I can adjust a prime or primes by 6. So if I was to take out the 43, if I said there was no 43 cage in the puzzle anymore, then the prime I'm bringing in as a substitute is so enormously greater than it should be. You know, I can't go to 47 because I'm assuming there is a 47 in here. I can't go to 53, that's 10 greater. I've only got 6 to play with. I can't go to 59, that's much, much too big. So I could go to 47, but only if I could then take the 47 out and increase that by only 2 to get to a new prime, and there's no prime available. So there is a 43 cage in this puzzle, definitely. And now, yeah, there is only one way to do this. I then need to not have a 47 cage and to have a 53 cage instead. That's the only way I can use up the additional 6. And then okay. And then if I do that, assuming, oh goodness me, what if my maths was wrong at the start? If I do that, my starting maths was 379, using all of the lowest primes. And I would have retained almost all of the lowest primes, all the way up to 43, I would have retained the lowest primes. But then I would have said, no, I'm taking out 47. And, well, in effect, what I've done is taken out 47 and replaced it with 73, because I have kept 53 in by doing that. And that's a difference of 26, which takes up the slack and takes the primes to add up to 405, which is what we need to make the grid work. Right, so what we should be able to attain now, or somehow work out, is either purple or green is summing to 43, and then the other one is summing to 53. So, what is, well, I can work out most of purple. I can work out these. So these squares add up, we looked at this earlier, these 23, 24, 24 and 15 is 39. And I've got 2 more digits to get me up to either 43, or 43 is very difficult here, because I'm already on 39. Yeah, this doesn't work at all. So purple is the 53, I think. Let me just, I'm sorry, I'm just going to double check this. So I've got 22, 23, 24, 39. I can't be going to 43, it cannot work. So I've got to go to 53, which is 14 more, so this is a 5-9 pair. So this square is a 5. And that square's a 9. And that square's a 5 now. And now that square's a 9 in the corner. And that square's a 5, and that square's a 6. Please, please keep going now. 2, 3, 4. That's a 4 by Sudoku. So that's, this is actually doing things. That square in the corner is not an 8, so this is 5, 9. So this is 7, and that's 8. So, right, so these squares, well, that's a 9 now by Sudoku, and these squares are a 1-6 pair, which means these squares are a 3-5 pair, which we can do the order of 5 and 3. This square's become a 2, that's a 2. This is 4, 7. That's not 2. I know what that's doing. In the middle box, there was a. Do you remember? There's a 3-4 pair. Well, it's not that. This can't be 3, 4 now, because it will break that square. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 1, this is 6. Hang on. No, that's right. That's right. 7, 8. 7, 8 must go that way round because of this 4, 7 thing. So that's 8, this is 6. This is 8, this is 7. This is 6, this is 5. This is unbelievable. It's unwinding, isn't it? 3, no, 4, 4, 7, yeah, that still works. 7, 4. This is 3, this is 4, this is 4, this is 7. Oh, nearly. What about this then? 3, 6, yeah, that's still okay. Down here we need a 1, that's got to be a 2. So in this column we need 3, 9. Yeah, we can do that. 3, 9, 9, 5, 5 here, 2 here. Now, here is the question, because if my mathematics is correct, I think this is a 43 cage without even looking at it. You know, I've not summed it. And if this does add up to 43, then mathematics works. Well, my mathematics works. Let's just think. So 8, 13. So these have to add up to 30, and they do. Because I can see that 1, 5 and 9 add up to 15, and I can use the secret. That must be right. If that's not right, I will. It's right. My goodness me. Xenonetix. These are getting harder. These are definitely getting harder. I have no wish to see a 10 by 10. That was quite difficult enough. It's still an absolutely incredible piece of setting, isn't it? Because, I mean, that must be very hard to do. It must be very hard to do, because let's just give that a quick moment's thought. You can't give any totals, and it's simply the geometry and the constraints that places on the size of the primes that can live in different parts of the grid that allowed us to completely unearth the sort of mapping of the primes and the set of primes that were being used. It's magnificent. It is magnificent. That should be an incredibly popular puzzle. With me, it is a very popular puzzle. Xenonetix loved it. Absolutely loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.